Thanks for staying up with us tonight. You've heard a lot about how Mississippi is slowly reopening parts of the state's economy, but the economic damage has already been done. The CARES Act is the coronavirus relief fund set up at the federal level, and today Governor Reeves gave us a glimpse of how that money may be distributed in the Magnolia State. Courtney Ann Jackson has the highlights.
Governor Tate Reeves says transparency will be the key in the way the CARES Act money is divvied up. As far as where the $1.25 billion will go, he has several possibilities. The first deals with education, knowing that distance learning could become a necessity again in the future.
Too many families are sharing one outdated computer or maybe don't have one at all. They may not have internet access to connect to class. I plan to utilize CARES Act funds to help fix that, and it will be a top priority. Support for teachers, schools, and especially parents will be a critical part of our recovery.
He'd also like to see some money directed to skills training.
I want every Mississippian to earn more money. I want to help those workers who have carried the financial burden of the coronavirus response. The best way to do that is to help you get more tools to earn a higher wage.
Small businesses have had some resources, but Reeves is hoping to further extend that lifeline.
I hope to use some of these funds to help them stay on their feet, keep their workers on their rolls, and weather this storm.
Other money may be used to help local governments, hospitals, and first responders.
It's my job to make sure that this federal emergency money gets in the right hands. Mississippi's past practices have proven that strict compliance checks are the best way to make sure that happens. We should have that settled by early next week, and then we can begin the process of utilizing these funds.
Courtney Ann Jackson, WCBI News.
The governor says there will be a competitive bidding process for a third-party team with experience to ensure this money is spent in a proper way, similar to what was done after Katrina. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is loosening some COVID-19 outbreak restrictions. Retail stores and beaches will be able to open, that is, on April 30th. Medical procedures will also be allowed to resume once the current stay-at-home order expires. Social distancing will still have to be followed, and groups of more than 10 are not allowed. Hair salons, gyms, and on-site dining will continue to be closed until at least May 15th. Alabama business owners are preparing for Friday's Safer at Home order. Our Stephanie Poole visited a few local shops and has more on the story.
Hope that we've been through the tough part. We don't know. Time will tell.
Kurt Smith owns that little store somewhere in Vernon. He says after COVID-19 shut his doors for nearly 2 months, he didn't even know if his business will be able to survive.
It's tough to sit there and see that all the hard work and money and time you've spent into getting that, and I mean, we're shut down. There's nothing we can do as far as opening. And there was several times, it is nervous because even though the money's not coming in, the bill's still ours.
Gwen Moore at Durham Pharmacy is stocking shelves for Friday's crowd. She says there's a plan to make sure the store stays at 50% capacity.
So we'll have somebody monitoring the door, and we'll just keep track of who comes in and make sure, that people are walking around and not crowding other customers as they shop. We ran the drive-thru and we've been taking our precautions and stuff like that with our mask and our gloves and not touching anything that's come in or out.
The loss of local sales means the loss of sales tax, and that has put a strain on the town's revenue. City Clerk Don Dollar says the Safer at Home order will help boost the economy.
We're a small town, so it takes every business to make this town be able to stay afloat. But when times like this happen, this town, this community comes together. Now, we've got some that still aren't allowed to open, and we're sad about that today. But we hope that that's something that's going to be in step 2, to where every business in this town will be open and Vernon will return to normal like we like to be.
It's just a curveball. It's just part of life. You do the best you can with what you got, and we have, and we'll continue to do what we have to do to get through it, and I think together we all will.
Reporting in Lamar County, Stephanie Poole, WCBI News.
Retail stores can open their doors for business on April 30th at 5 p.m. The Aberdeen Fire Department is getting extra help from volunteer departments. The Monroe County EMA director says volunteer fire crews were asked to help out after a city firefighter's wife was diagnosed with COVID-19. That firefighter is quarantined with his wife. The fire chief confirms that other firefighters opted to be tested Now, several rumors have sparked that the fire department was closed, but the chief extinguished those, saying that they are short-staffed and the volunteers are helping out. He assures that the city department is open and ready to respond.
We had a few isolated showers and thunder showers around here earlier this evening. That activity now weakening and moving northeast of Hackleburg, Alabama. Our next attention is this. Look at this big line of storms in Arkansas and Oklahoma. Heavy rain, lightning, gusty wind, all that stuff right now. Those storms are very intense, but as they move east of the Mississippi River, we do suspect they will weaken and probably get close to our area by 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning out west, and then gradually move through the area during the overnight hours. A lot of that should be done by sunrise or 7 o'clock. Gusty showers and storms possible after midnight. That's the forecast. Lows in the lower 60s. Breezy the next 2 days here, but the sun's going to come on back, and the first weekend of May is looking like summer. The full forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Keith, thanks so much. Well, the food chain is breaking. That's the warning from one of America's largest food processors, Tyson Foods. As more people test positive for the coronavirus across the nation, more food processing facilities will be forced to close. Infected workers could mean indefinite shutdowns, and this means less meat will be available at grocery stores, and what is left won't be cheap. Cash Matlock has more.
We could find ourselves in America and across the country with inadequate food supply, particularly meat products.
On Monday, Governor Tate Reeves addressed the food chain issue in his daily press conference. The issue received national attention after the chairman of Tyson Foods took out ads with the Washington Post and the New York Times.
We cannot find ourselves in a situation in which livestock or other things that we depend on as part of the nation's food supply are rotting while we're running out of food across the country.
Jack Herkamp produces corn in Noxubee County. 100% of his crop is sold as livestock feed, primarily for chickens. When a chicken plant shuts down, Herkamp has no place to sell his feed.
If you stay shut down, then that starts backing up feeding, and feeding is what we do. We're raising the corn that goes to the feed.
He says if he were to try to sell his corn today, he would not be able to turn a profit.
Looking at the market and looking at demand, which we watch all the time, I look at it every day, our corn price is down a lot.
So far, processing plants in Noxubee County are open. Here at Pico Foods in Brooksville, it's business as usual. Employees tell WCBI that another female employee tested positive for COVID-19 on Sunday. The plant remains open today. Now, insiders say that the factory is cleaned every single night to ensure the safety of all employees. We've reached out to the Brooksville plant as well as the Pico Foods headquarters for a comment, and they have yet to get back to us. Dr. Thomas Dobbs with the Mississippi Department of Health says most of the food processing plants within the state are cooperating with proper health regulations.
They have been very receptive to recommendations for making things safe and have actually been extremely innovative in some of the things that they've done, especially around making sure that their employees are wearing PPE or have other environmental things built in that would minimize transmission.
Late this afternoon, Pico Foods issued a statement saying, in part, Pico Foods takes all aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic seriously. We have reacted swiftly to assess and address potential threats to our team members. Currently, all individuals entering our buildings are temperature scanned and required to wear face masks while on site. We are also following strict sanitation and social distancing recommendations. And for the full statement, just visit our website, WCBI.com. By one estimate, restaurants in the U.S. have lost a combined $80 billion during the shutdown. 8 million employees are out of work, but as CBS's Carter Evans shows us, in this era of social distancing, some restaurants are going back to the future to stay open and stay safe.
At Bob's Big Boy in Burbank, operations manager Darren Utley says customers these days would rather social distance in their car. So he brought back the car hop.
When I was a kid, that was the only way we used to do it.
It's nostalgic. It allows them to have the kind of protection of their car and be in their own environment.
The challenge will be keeping customers 6 feet apart when the dining room reopens.
We went through and made sure there were no tables across from each other or adjacent to each other.
But that's virtually impossible to do at this tiny steakhouse across town.
How are you going to social distance in here?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
Dear John's owner, Patty Rockenwagner.
Even if you cut down the number of seats by half, they don't cut the price of steak by half. They don't cut your rent by half. If you can't pack your restaurant to capacity, I mean, it really is a recipe for disaster.
But for now, she may have cooked up a recipe for success.
We started doing TV dinners.
The ultimate comfort food.
They look awesome, you guys.
They make them every day and sell out every night.
It's nostalgic, it's old school, it's a little more gourmet.
Most restaurants are improvising, says Michael Grayeski, co-owner at Lobster and Beer, two things not usually associated with takeout.
What does a new normal look like for you in here?
I'm trying to find ways to get people to come through the door.
Or at least into the parking lot. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
You got ideas there. Well, COVID-19 has changed everything this year, and that's really being felt for the class of 2020. Needless to say, graduation will be different this year. For families and friends of Mississippi State University grads, it will be on TV. My Mississippi, one of the WCBI family of stations, will carry MSU's spring commencement Friday at 2 p.m. Be sure to check your local listings. And don't forget, go ahead and set that DVR. All right, we're going to send things back over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Keith, some rain moving in tonight, but man, you keep talking about this weekend. Is today Friday? Like, can it be Friday?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, God.
We just have one speed bump to get through tonight, Scott. A little bit of rain possible tomorrow. Here's our first alert forecast for your Wednesday. Zelda, all cozy underneath the cushions there. 60s in the morning, 70s in the afternoon. Yeah, a little bit of rain tomorrow, but the sun's coming on back. Your full forecast is next. Going back to what Scott was talking about, we are alluding to a great weekend. Let's just show you that weekend forecast. Maybe you have a backyard pool. Things will be sunny Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 80s for the weekend, maybe mid to upper 80s there by Saturday and Sunday. So that's coming our way. This is what happened this evening, a nice little burst of color. It was a brief burst of color in some spots in the Golden Triangle area. Share your pictures, your reports with us with our news app, also online, social media, what have you, or old-fashioned email address if you still use one of those things. I'm old. I still use email. Some of you probably don't even use it, but we love pictures and reports. This is our time lapse from Tupelo, our Alpha Insurance camera there downtown at Fair Park. You can see a little thunder shower coming on through the area tonight. Now, there's a big line of storms here in Arkansas and Oklahoma. This has been talked about for the last couple of days. There's a severe thunderstorm watch out there, really for Memphis and points west until 3 o'clock in the night. We don't expect widespread strong or severe weather around here. However, there could be a few gusty storms after midnight, probably after 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning if those storms do happen to hold together. They are producing some wind now. There's been some hail reported as well. And this big batch of storms will continue moving east-southeast, the most intense likely bypassing us. But the northern fringe will get us. The atmosphere where we live here, not as unstable as points west or southwest. So we think those storms will weaken. Let me show you that with our hour-by-hour forecast. 60s now. By 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, that line will come on in probably after 1. This is a little bit slow, I think, but probably after 1, it will start to come on in here. It probably won't be widespread as far as intensity goes, but there could be some good downpours, some thunder and lightning, so don't be alarmed. But that will move on through. It looks like we'll get rid of some of those clouds during the day on Wednesday, usher back in the 70s. Still a chance for a few showers or storms around during the course of the day, but rain chances will be highest during the overnight hours and the first part of our morning tomorrow. Thursday morning, wow, look at that, upper 40s to around 50. And for Thursday itself, sunny, breezy, much cooler, upper 60s, low 70s. We just had one of those days a few days ago. We're going to do it again, and then we're down into the mid 40s Thursday night, Friday morning. Look at that, 46 degrees, but on the backside of all of this, 77 Friday, 83 Saturday, 86 Sunday. May begins a great summer-like weekend here. There will be some storm opportunities early next week, Monday and Tuesday, but I think we stay in the 80s. Scott?
All right, thanks so much, Keith. Well, there could be some good news on the horizon in the fight against COVID-19. We take a look at an ounce of prevention when we come back. Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, there's word of a possible breakthrough in work on a coronavirus vaccine, and it could be ready in a few months. It's one of 70 potential vaccines being developed around the world. CBS's Charlie D'Agata takes us inside the innovative lab in England.
In the global race to find a vaccine, Oxford University just jumped way ahead of the pack. Human testing is already underway, and scientists say they're hopeful it will be available by September.
Well, personally, I have a high degree of confidence about this vaccine because it's technology that I've used before.
Technology they had already developed in previous work on inoculations for other viruses, including a close relative of COVID-19, giving the lab a step ahead. The vaccine takes the coronavirus's genetic material and injects it into a common cold virus that's been neutralized so it can't spread in people. The modified virus will mimic COVID-19, triggering the immune system to fight off the imposter and providing protection against the real thing. The experimental vaccine has reportedly worked in protecting rhesus macaque monkeys like these that were exposed to heavy quantities of COVID-19. In the human trials, 550 participants are given the vaccine, another 550 a placebo.
It feels like finally I'm able to do something, and I felt like this was a way for me to contribute to the cause.
Wasting no time, one of the largest drug makers in the world based in India say they'll start producing millions of vaccines by next month, even before it's proven to work.
Ole Miss brings College World Series experience back to Oxford. Meet the newest head coach of Rebel softball next in sports.
Here's sports with Tom Ebel.
Ole Miss softball hoping it made the right choice to get back on track towards another Women's College World Series appearance. Rebels introducing its newest head coach via Zoom. Former Minnesota head coach Jamie Traxel takes over Rebels softball. Ole Miss softball has had a rough 6-month stretch since former head coach Mike Smith resigned. Traxel says her goal from the get-go will be to get the program back on the same page.
What I'm looking forward to is, coming down there, putting a great staff together and uniting everybody and getting everybody back on the same page, getting it simple again, which is being excited about being a student athlete, being passionate about what you do and uniting everybody and with our goals and the mindset that we're going to have and the work ethic that we'll have to go and attack and accomplish our goals.
I think that our young ladies have been through a lot. And, I don't want to divulge too much of, or really anything that was said in the initial meeting with Coach, with the team. But you could tell there was a sense of, hey, we're ready to move forward. We're ready to have some stability.
Athletic Director Keith Carter also says there are no current plans to move the football opener for Ole Miss against Baylor away from Houston, Texas. And Ole Miss is using July 1st as a target date to bring student athletes back to campus. Good news for Ole Miss men's basketball. Rising senior guard Devontae Shuler announcing on his social media account he'll be returning to Kermit Davis's team next year. Shuler averaged around 12 points per game, including 5 rebounds and 3 assists as a junior. A big get for the Rebels as Shuler will handle much of the backcourt load without Brian Tyree next season. Choctaw County Baseball has found the new man to lead the program. The Chargers hiring Heritage Academy head baseball coach Justin Flake to the same position. Flake spent the past 3 seasons with the Patriots, leading them to a state championship in 2019. Speaking of Heritage Academy, senior Lizzie Howard signs to continue her soccer career with MUW. The Patriots midfielder has been playing varsity since the 8th grade, earning first-team All-Division honors twice as well as All-State honors. Howard says her time at Heritage Academy helped prepare her for the next level.
When I came to Heritage, I was like a leader because, I was captain last year, and it was like, it really helped me a lot coming out of my comfort zone and teaching me a lot more about how I need to look at how to play soccer, and everybody helped me around, so it was really good for me.
That's it for sports. We'll be back right after the break.
Still watching this big line of storms back in Arkansas. Several more hours before it gets close to us. We do suspect it will begin the weekend once it gets east of the Mississippi River. Vanessa will be in later tonight with the update for you on sunrise. And speaking of sun, look at all that sun as we get into your Thursday, Friday, the upcoming weekend. So, Scott, a little bit of rain tonight into tomorrow morning. Then we're home free for a while.
And not wait,
right.
Friday can't get here fast enough.
No kidding.
All right. Thanks so much, Keith. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.